We have a saying around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no brains, no headache.
Mr. Madison, what you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Episode 247, No Brains, No Headache podcast, coming at you with another show here with the mindlessly entertaining show from Bismarck, North Dakota, featuring me, your host. I'm Jordan Weichel, happy to be here. Damn glad to do so. Across from me, my confidant, longtime friend, fellow comedian, co-host of the show. He is wearing a t-shirt with an elephant on it. It's the one and only, the legendary Matt Cleary. Matt, welcome to the show.
So my mom got me this shirt. Thank you for having me, by the way.
You're welcome.
My mom got me this shirt when she went to South Africa, and this is clearly one that you buy from like an airport. So I figured she was leaving, and then she was like, oh, shit, I forgot to get Matt something.
Yeah.
Little did she know, great gift for me.
Yeah. Well, at least you got something. I don't ever do that when I go places.
If it's like a real special place, maybe.
Like Disneyland?
Yeah, I don't know.
A real special place?
It's like if I go to like...
It's like, here is a 10%, here's a free cover charge from the strip club that we went to.
I'll give you this. So my dad went to Greece. He got me like a shot glass from there. That's a special place. When my dad goes on a bender to Memphis, I don't expect anything from that trip.
Besides a text at 9 a.m. in the morning that he's at the bar.
Yeah.
Honestly jealous.
Yeah. What was it called? Hand jobs or something?
Oh, is that what it was?
No,
what did you send me a picture of?
Yeah, the sign said jerk me offs or something.
Let's see here. We send a lot of pictures together. Club Handy.
Oh, yeah. Well, pretty close.
What is it?
It's clearly the Fireball logo.
Home of the blues, birthplace of rock and roll.
And hand jobs.
How is this not just a copyright infringement? Drinks to go is what that says.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a good place.
Terrific. Well, we're here for episode 247. No Brains, No Headache is the name of the show. Holy. We got a mic punch early. Matt is on just a...
I was trying to do this thing.
Yeah, no, I know what you were trying to do.
Okay.
You didn't execute that very well.
Well, we'll go to the video after this. Speaking of video, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can watch the entire show. Watch me punch the mic.
Yeah, what do we got? We got a little bit of housekeeping. I'm proud to announce that I am the latest and newest and greatest Indiana Fever fan.
Can you name one other player other than Caitlin Clark?
Sophie Cunningham.
Is that the blonde one?
Well, there's two blondes. So I sent you a picture of... Well, hello. Okay, here we go. Lexi Hull.
Yeah.
Hull.
They got two
Sophie
blondes on that
Cunningham.
team that are... I don't know if they need to do this for like... in the WNBA to get like, okay, we have too many lesbians on our team. Let's get a couple hot chicks. So they're like, I played Division II basketball, scored less than 1 point a game. It's like, do you have huge boobs? They're like,
welcome to the
Yeah.
squad. No, yeah, it's not for Caitlin Clark. So I can name 3 WNBA players from one team, which is huge, I think.
Yeah, that's 3 more than most Indiana Fever.
I did notice though in this picture they had media day, and they're just looking beautiful, gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Lexi Hull has a wedding ring, so I'm kind of leaning towards Sophie Cunningham.
Is she the taller one?
I don't know. You'd be the judge. Yeah. They're pretty even. They're like twins.
Yeah.
So, just an arousal alert. So just to start off the show, just horny maker.
Let's see, my housekeeping. We were talking about this before, college furniture, so I wanted to bring it up. What was the worst piece of college furniture you had?
Probably a love seat. You know, just a teeny little couch, obviously. It was bad just because, I mean, it was fine, but you knew it was bad because we put it in our basement.
Yep.
Where we didn't have like a TV or anything. It was a cool area. There was like a built-in bar at one particular college house. We had a dartboard kind of in like another area.
Did you have the dartboard that had just a ton of spots where darts have hit the wall around it?
It was an electric soft tip, so no, I guess to answer that question. But and then I still have it. It's right here, actually. This Utah Jazz kind of old school blanket. So that was just our extra blanket. And I remember one time after a night of partying, going downstairs, we had a buddy visiting town. And I walked down the stairs to go use that bathroom, and one of our poor buddies was just passed out on the love seat. So like his legs are propped up, he can't fit, and it was a basement. It was Grand Forks, North Dakota. It was cold.
Yeah.
All he had was the Utah Jazz. I'm pretty sure he ripped off the wall just for something. I was like, you could have asked. I have plenty of blankets in my room. I definitely would have hooked it up.
Definitely gonna use this floor mat as a blanket.
Yeah, so that we definitely, you're a bad piece of furniture when you're just kind of the leftovers that like go down to the basement.
Like when you're moving in, you're like, where does this go? It's like downstairs, wherever you can find a spot.
Yeah, I do feel bad. I remember we lived in that particular house for 2 years, and when it finally came to move out, we were trying to coordinate, and like I told the other roommates, because we had some stuff to move. And we had one of those really large, big screen TVs that you just a behemoth of a piece of furniture, electronic. I do feel bad because I let the guys know. I said like, hey, I'm gonna be up, this weekend. I'm here to help move. Got a truck, like we can get whatever, take it to the dump. I don't care what we do with it. Let's just move it. And then nobody showed up. So I moved all my stuff, and then at the end of the weekend, I'm just looking at this gigantic TV, and I was just like, well, have fun with that. See you guys later. This was fun.
So in my college dorm, the second semester, we had a pretty good setup, but first semester, we had one of those shitty Target futons that were like the most painful thing to lay on. Or sit on, or pretty much do anything with.
We did have a pretty thorough futon discussion prior to recording, which is always nice. Really get the mind right.
And we were like, we need an extra couch for here, but we can only fit like a love seat. So after having a couple drinks, me and the fellas hit the thrift stores, and we found this one for like $25. And we're like, how is this such a good deal? We get it back to the dorm room, wake up the next morning. I'll tell you why it was a good deal. The thing just reeked like cigarettes and had like burns on it in other places. And we're like, how did no one notice this? There was like 6 of us that lifted this thing into the car.
How did no one notice this as you guys are just have like cigs hanging out of your mouth, lifting it into the vehicle?
Oh, when I would get super drunk in college, I would just fucking start smoking indoors in my dorms.
Yeah. I mean, I debate taking up smoking like every other week.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, but basically, and then that ended where I puked and pissed on the one futon. And then the next week, my roommate threw up.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm just imagining you just, and then also just standing there peeing. Not like falling asleep, like wetting the bed, like just like blatantly peeing.
No, I fell asleep sitting up, and then they were like, heard like water running. They just look over.
It never gets old.
Yeah,
I mean, something about just an adult.
Yeah, it's
just wetting themselves. Is that funny?
My buddy, he was on like I think he did 6 weekends in a row where he pissed the bed.
What?
And
good God, man,
dude,
jeez, tie the thing off before you go to bed.
So it was 2 brothers.
Everybody got a string.
It was 2 brothers, and we would make sure that one brother, who like wasn't really friends with the other brother, would go check on him every morning to see if he pissed the bed, and we'd have like
just have a marker board and just add another tally.
It would be a huge group message, and then someone on like Sunday night would be like, Tommy, let us know. And then we were all like waiting with bated breath and be like, and then I'd be like, he pissed the bed, and everyone would be like, yeah. And then like
start handing payouts to people.
It was like 6 weeks in a row, and then the one weekend it didn't happen. Everyone was just so melancholy that Oh, it was great.
Melancholy. Good word. Fantastic word. Do you ever see a flag at half mast and not know what it's for?
Just assume some old white dude died.
I saw one the other day, and I had no clue. I just kind of felt like out of the loop, kind of uneducated would be a few words.
There was one time that I was driving across the bridge, and they have the flags there, and they were at half mast. And so I like pulled my phone out while I was driving and started looking up. And then the next thing I know, I look up and there's just headlights right there. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm like, well, maybe I don't need to know why the flag's at half mast.
There's going to be a couple flowers next to the flags before you know it.
The flag's going to be at half mast for a couple more days celebrating that family I just killed.
Walk away scratch-free.
Yeah. Just Henry Ruggs, the entire family.
Yeah. Well, I always think like, maybe you're like driving through a small town and you see a flag at half mast and you go into the bar and you're not really sure why. So you strike up a convo with the bartender and you're like, oh, why are the flags down? And, they're like, one of the regulars, one of the locals passed away. And you're like, oh, did he serve in the military? No,
he drank himself to death.
He drove right into oncoming traffic.
He just really got drunk and tried to drive the half block to his house and
didn't quite make it. As they're just overserved him.
As his car doesn't have any tires on it, just sparks flying up.
All right, what else do we have for housekeeping? We gotta keep this house kept.
I made up a new game and it involves movies, so I thought that you'd like it. It involves some imagination, and you're either gonna really like it or you're really gonna hate it.
I'm probably gonna hate it. Go ahead with that.
So, but open mind. I'm glad you have that. You take a movie character, and then
do I have to close my eyes for this?
You can if you want.
My eyes are closed.
But you take a movie character.
Okay.
And then you take that actor and then another movie that they came out with, and you have to create a bridge story about how they became that other person. So here's an example.
Okay. Go hit me with it.
Bartholomew Hunt from Almost Heroes tries to walk, at the end of the movie, they're going to walk to Russia or Asia on the land bridge. He gets frozen in ice, and they unthaw him.
I'm opening my eyes.
And they put him into Ohio, and he sells brake parts for his family.
I already see a flaw in the plot. He was born. He's Tommy Callahan Jr.
Maybe we don't really.
The opening scene shows him as a child.
Oh yeah, well,
so didn't really think that.
Another one I thought of was Eric from Billy Madison. Gets out of prison and changes his name and becomes Dean Armitage from the movie Get Out.
Okay, yeah. I've seen both. I've obviously seen Billy Madison a few times.
So he gets shot in the ass, which leads him to have a medical.
Yeah, I can see that one. And then just massive racism.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. When you first were running me through that, I thought of Robin Williams from Jumanji. So there could be something there, and then I thought of, I don't know why, his other movies called like
Robin Williams Gets Out of Jumanji.
1 Hour Photo or some shit, where he is just a creep.
I was going to say Robin Williams gets out of Jumanji, gets his life together, and becomes a therapist for Will Hunting. Oh, God, he does look terrifying.
Yeah, it's just a psychological thriller film. Where he becomes he's a photo developer, if you will. 1 hour photo makes sense. Back in the day of photos.
Yeah, Pahodo.
And Robin Williams is a man named Cy who lives a lonely existence with his sole happiness being his years-long obsession with a family named the Orkins. Something. So
that's nuts.
Yeah,
he looks creepy.
Yeah, I've seen this movie before, so. Do that or Patch Adams. You can really go one of two ways with that, but I don't know if the timelines match up. But the thing about Jumanji is you can really just, the dude was living in a game in the goddamn jungle, fighting off lions and shit for 30 years, 40 years?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I remember I was like actually sick. I think I had the flu or something, and I decided to turn on the new Jumanji with the
Oh, man.
with The Rock and Kevin Hart and one of the Jonas Brothers, and I felt even more sick. That movie sucked.
Well, I just don't understand. We have so much more creativity, I feel, these days.
Or
and
go
we're
grab
just-
one of the books in the library and do it. They're making a live action Lilo and Stitch. Can't they come up with something new?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is why are we running out of ideas? Why are we just kind of redoing the same things? I don't understand that.
They're remaking the Fantastic Four. And
last episode, you told me they're remaking Holes. I said, I'm not interested. You're like, it gets worse.
It
and
does.
I was like, okay, I don't really care. And then I listened back to the episode. You had a hard time with what did you say? Their gender something?
gender switching or something.
Yeah, let's call it gender switching. So then we were going through scenes in the movie, and then in that scene where she's like, "I'm tired, Grandpa," he's like, "That's too damn bad." We went through that, and you're like, something. Grandpa said, "Wouldn't it be Grandma?" And then you had a hard time understanding why it would be Grandma. I'm like, can't we? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Nothing will ever compare.
nothing confuses me more than myself.
We don't lose to anyone. We just beat ourselves.
You did this as I'm staring in the mirror.
You did this. All right. I think that is our housekeeping for episode 247. Let's get into it.
Okay. Let's party.
I made the discovery this last weekend that I'm officially getting older.
You're just discovering this now?
Yeah,
What was the driving force behind you finally realizing at the ripe age of 31 that you're getting older?
I was having conversations with someone at the bar that was like 25, and I realized that we have little to nothing in common.
Yeah, what gave that away?
Well, the whole group was just like all gung ho, and I'm just like, this is my after work week. Like,
Well, that could just be you, just being low energy, generally negative.
but then they kept making references that I didn't get,
Oh, that's the worst.
and then I felt
But you got to
I felt
understand.
so out of place that I bought drugs from one of them.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
You can have some.
All right. Well, let's discuss this after the show.
Okay.
You want to wrap it up now, or let's
I don't have anything else. So.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to understand though. Like, you remember when you and I and Bertie Mac were quoting "Almost Heroes"?
Yeah.
Pretty much like that was the only form of communication. Not everybody there was getting those references, so maybe you were just the odd man out. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I felt weird.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you just need to, be able to adjust and adapt and just be open to all sorts of different age groups in your life.
But it was all these little things too, because they were like, "Can I get this tequila with the yellow Red Bull?" And I'm like, "There's a yellow Red Bull."
There's every color out there. Red Bull.
What?
Yeah, I have noticed that there's like obscure drink orders. You can tell a lot about a person by what they order to drink.
Yeah, and like I was just getting like Busch Light, and then everyone else was like, "Can I do this?" But then surprise me with this color, and I'm like, "What is going on here?"
I'm curious to find out who the hell you're hanging out with.
Yeah, it's pretty. You'd know him, I think.
I'm sure I would. I just
Yeah. Well, and then also I had 2 beers and a shot, and the next day I felt hungover.
yes, yeah. This happens. Is this new to you?
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't be hungover with 3 drinks.
You ever thought about just not drinking?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, just that's an option. Just think about that maybe sometime. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, even that when I was at Poop Wiener the other day, they
Oh yeah. Okay. Took me a second there.
they were like, the people I was with before was like, "Have you ever just like not drank?" And I was like, "Yeah, for like 20 days at the beginning of January." They're like, "How was that?" And I was like, I don't know. Felt weird.
Yeah.
clear-minded.
I just went like 2 weeks and then just kind of said, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like any excuse, I'm like, oh, okay, I could have a couple.
Yeah. Well, even last night, I had some lovely carne asada. Ooh. Apparently, it's just a sort of the way you prepare beef. I still am confused as
the Mexican sausage.
Whatever. I'm still very confused as to what it is. Had some Modelo's in the fridge, so stuck down a couple Modelo's.
Did you know that Modelo is the #1 beer in the United States?
I did know that.
I saw the list today, and it was all the usual suspects like Bud Light, your Busch Light, Coors, and then Modelo, #1.
Well, the reason that happened, Matt, and I'm glad you bring it up, a nice educational moment here on No Brains, No Headache, because what we say is definitely fact, and I would not, take anything for granted coming out of our mouths on this show. The reason that Modelo took over was because Bud Light decided to do a very, risky marketing ploy a few years ago. You may be familiar. You may know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into details. However, when they did that, they upset a lot of people.
Yeah.
And not only just one side of people, they upset kind of like both sides of people. They upset everybody somehow.
Somehow did it so poorly that you pissed off everyone involved.
Like everybody came, like that was the most unity I think America had in a while.
That was
where both sides were there. Were like, this is kind of fucking stupid.
It was pretty much the 9/11 of beer industries. It just brought everyone together.
So when that happened, Matt, Modelo took over as the world's most popular beer. So I'm surprised you didn't know that. That's been like that for years. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I just saw it today that because I thought it was like Mick Ultra or something was the U.S. most popular.
I mean, maybe in the U.S. What did I spell wrong? According to the Google AI overview,
I love
our trusted source.
I love the Google AI overview.
It's either that or Wikipedia. Modelo Especial has surpassed Bud Light as the top-selling beer in the United States by dollar sales. This change occurred in May of 2023, 2 years ago, and has been sustained ever since. While this shift primarily happened in the U.S. market, Modelo is a top-selling beer worldwide. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know that.
No, it was just one of those things that come... I'm sure I've seen it, but I just saw it today that I was kind of like shocked.
We have a CNBC article. Make sure there's no videos here so we don't...
Oh, go down to that dollar figure. 1.02
right
billion. Damn.
Yes. Those are all Mexican brands. Where are we at here? When was this written?
I don't know.
August 18th, 2023. I want them to say something about Bud Light just being royal idiots. Analysts say Modelo's rise was accelerated by conservative backlash against Bud Light and its parent company, Anheuser-Busch InBev, after it partnered with transgender activist and influencer Dylan Mulvaney the month prior. But Modelo was gaining ground in the U.S. beer market.
So it's kind of like...
This is a quote from CNBC, not from me.
So that was like...
Let's make that clear.
That was kind of like it was coming, but that was kind of like the cannonball that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I want to see... Like Bud Light was... It was there for a long time.
What was that guy's title?
Where at? One more?
No, there was a guy that was like, oh yeah, Senior Vice President of Equity Research.
Yeah.
If your title has more than 3 letters, your dad probably owns the company.
Yeah, it scares me entering into the job market these days. It's tough. I'm scared. I think ultimately I may just say, screw it and probably just start another company. Just continue to be an entrepreneur.
Flip couches.
Well, I think that's going to be in the short term. Like you and I on our furniture discussion prior to recording. If it doesn't pan out by the time that I'm unemployed, I'll probably just flip furniture. And by that, I mean just sell the furniture
By that I
from
mean
my home.
steal people's patio furniture from their backyards and sell it back to them at a premium.
Would it be the first time? All right, Matt, you're getting older. And then that led us into a whole Modelo thing. Modelos are delicious.
Not bad beer.
I mean, I even had a lime with it.
Yep. See, that's the thing, though. I think without a lime, it's significantly worse.
Yeah. I had a really nice evening, actually. It was great. A little carne asada, some Modelos. I haven't had a little, I made a little guac mix. Some chips and guacamole.
I'll say guacamole is the most overrated food on the planet.
I don't know if this is a traditional guacamole, but
It's starting to piss me off while you're saying it.
But it was very nice.
Mole! Ow, I hurt my elbow.
Shoved my face. All right, we're here for episode 247. No brains, no headache. So I almost ran out of gas the other day. The Chevy S10 that you'll be taking over probably sooner than later.
Did you park on a hill?
Well, when you reach high speeds in that thing, does the gas gauge just like lose its marbles?
Yeah, and if you park on a hill, if you're facing downhill, it'll tell you you have more gas than you have, and if you park on uphill, it'll tell you you have less gas.
Okay, well, I was driving back from the lake cabin, so you know that that particular route is kind of up and down. So for the listeners out there, Bismarck to Cabin Day Weichel, let's just say, for the sake of the story, there's about 25 miles to the town of Wilton, North Dakota, and then about another 25 miles to the lake cabin. And there's a pump out, by the lake cabin now, actually. But I thought it was good. I left the cabin coming back to Bismarck with about a quarter tank. I was like, okay, this should be totally fine. So I get halfway. I pass the lovely town of Wilton, North Dakota. And at this point, I'm just kind of zoned out in my drive. It's about 50 minutes, hour, give or take, somewhere in there. So I'm right at the halfway point where you're just kind of like, you're off in la land. You're just kind of like, whatever. And I don't mind that drive at all, but I was just in a different world. Then I look down at the old, the gauges, and I see the gas gauge. You're not on Snapchat anymore, but a few of my Snapchat friends got to see the needle was on E, if not below E. And I had just passed Wilton.
So I
was like, okay, well, my options are
flip it around,
turn around, or just risk it for the biscuit, head to B-Town. Well, I was like, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. Thankfully, I had my parents probably a little bit behind me. They left shortly after I did, so I shot them a text and say, hey, get ready. I may be on the side of the road. I may need you to come pick me up because I ran out of gas like a goddamn idiot. But I got to Bismarck just fine. Went to the gas station near my place, filled up with gas. So not only is the gas gauge all weird, I got there just fine. So I filled up with gas. It's full, right? Hop in. I noticed that like the dollar amount, I was like, oh, that's like kind of a few dollars less than like when I normally fill it up and it's pretty empty. I fire the puppy up and the gas gauge it doesn't even go all the way to full. It's like under full. And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Are we just off? Is there the measurements off maybe? I don't know. When you leave a place with a quarter tank to go 50 miles, this shouldn't happen. But it made me start thinking, what about alternative, fuel options? So I did come up with a few, and I'm not just talking about electricity here, people. That's not what we do here. We're a little more creative than that. So one of mine, I was talking to our friend of the show, Blaze, and I said, if only this thing ran on good vibes.
That wouldn't be bad. Anger?
Yeah, what if it just like forced you, and that's what I was thinking, I was like, what if your vehicle ran on like what your emotion was? So then like, well, and when you kind of get irritated and frustrated and upset, it's very hard to bounce back from that. If anything, you just get more upset. Imagine if your vehicle was powered by your mood. You have to be in a good mood for it to move. And you're in a bad mood, and you get into your car, and the bastard won't start. It won't even move, and you're just like, God damn it, and you're just punching the steering wheel. You're not moving. Call in sick. Cancel your plans. You're not going anywhere. Call an Uber.
I was thinking every car should have the option that your floor comes out and you just Flintstone it to the place you're going to.
That could be rough.
Yeah.
In certain areas. Could be a little chilly in the wintertime.
Or I was thinking like there's something that you could hook up that you like walk in place or ride a bike and it energizes it. Nice. To get more gas, solar panels. I like the good vibes thing.
And this reminds me, I'm constantly reminded of this, but
Piss.
no. Well, it'll turn into that, but Diet Dr. Pepper. What if your vehicle ran on Diet Dr.
What
Pepper?
if any fluid your vehicle would just run on?
Well, in our favorite show, Russ Family Restores, I've been rewatching it. You know the episode where Avery picks up that like old like army truck thing?
Oh yeah, and he is like running it on kerosene or something.
Yeah, it's I don't know much about engines or motors or vehicles for that matter, but yeah, this thing he said it will run on oil, transmission fluid, gas, kerosene, like
Yep.
I mean, probably anything that'll ignite.
Let's bring back those engines.
Yeah,
My breath after a long night out.
I can't imagine. It's great for the environment, but I think we're past that.
Yeah.
I don't think we care about that. So, Diet Dr. Pepper, by the way, as a reminder to our listeners, we always want to keep you guys in the loop on what's going on. A while back, I lost a bet to Matt, and the loser had to do the Forrest Gump challenge and drink 15 Dr. Peppers in one day. I lost, and I haven't paid up yet, but we were discussing it earlier. Matt's been very kind to kind of give me a little bit of leeway on that. Keep it in mind, we will announce when I'm doing the Forrest Gump challenge. So make sure you're following us on social media. We'll probably go live throughout the day. We'll probably be posting clips, probably make a YouTube video out of it, and just do some fun content. But what if your vehicle ran on Diet Dr. Pepper? What if your vehicle ran on wind, but can only travel in the direction it's blowing?
So a sailboat.
I was thinking after I kind of wrote that down, I was like, okay, this is... But don't sailboats have...
Imagine you have a crank, your car's out of gas, you're just cranking up a huge fucking staff.
Don't sailboats have... Isn't there a way for them to, like, navigate that to maybe not go... Maybe not right into the wind, but, like...
Yeah, that's why they have the deflector thing.
Is that what it is? I don't know anything about sailing, so this is definitely a very educated topic.
I think they go at more of like a diagonal.
Yeah,
if they're like that. Yeah.
But what if your car only ran on wind in the direction it's blowing?
You're like, I was going to go up to the lake, but the wind's coming north to south. So
I ended up in 48.
Yeah, it's going to be a no-go for me. I actually found a dead body.
Yeah. So I have to answer some questions about that. I guess that's all I have for alternative fuel sources. Can you think of anything?
Well, I was thinking like the classic one, water, because there was a guy that made a water combustible engine.
Yeah.
And then
was it that guy on Mountain Men? No, that was like wood chips or something.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Every car should just have a furnace that you could just do like a coal-fired car where you just burn in logs instead of a combustible engine.
Or like a car that runs on, you have to be singing along with the music the whole time.
You're just off pitch and your car just keeps dying and
put it in her mouth. A motherfucking mouth.
My neck,
You can
my
just
back,
hit me out.
my anxiety.
That's probably the dirtiest song I know. I don't know. My mind is just in a gutter.
Yeah, well, not much different than my mind is in my leftover Chinese food that I'm going to eat.
I already ate
afterwards.
that.
Oh, come on.
You didn't mark it.
With one fridge, the only thing in there is diet soda and cat diabetes.
Yeah, you drink all the diet soda, so I just eating the Chinese food. Now I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah, but the guy that made a water engine mysteriously died and his car vanished because they're thinking that big petroleum killed him because it would bankrupt them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the cure for cancer.
Yep. Okay. unfortunate names. I've been coming up with this list for a little bit, and I wanted to unveil it for you.
Kirk.
That's one of them.
Is it actually?
But no, I mean, it's on there. It mainly, most of these are just Dick sounding names. One of them is Dick. So for first names, I've came up with Dick, Rod.
My name is Jeff.
And Buster.
Buster. Okay, Dick, Rod, and Dick, Rod. Okay,
First
first of all, Dick would suck.
Yeah.
Are we going with Richard with that one, technically speaking?
Yeah. No one's naming their kid Richard and be like, all right, have fun at first grade, Dick.
Rod.
It's funny.
That's kind of funny. Like Hot Rod. I get it. I think some of these, like, there's names that just absolutely suck, and then there's names that are highly dependent on the person and personality behind it. Because Buster, I'm not feeling. That kind of reminds me of like Buzz from Home Alone. I'm not getting.
Buster has to be paired with one of the bad last names, because there could be some doozies. Like if your name was Buster Cockburn.
Buster Hyman.
Ooh, that's a good one. I should add that to the list. But yeah, for last names, I got Cockburn, Wiener, Hooker, Raper, Dicker, Titsworth, Horn, and Crank.
Rod Horn. What are some combos here?
Dick Crank.
Christmas with the Cranks. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah. Rod Raper. Hi, my name's Dick Wiener.
There was a guy drafted to the NFL this year whose name was Kobe Bryant, just straight up.
There was another one like 3 years ago, and he actually won. So he was on the Cincinnati team with Sauce Gardner, and he was their other cornerback, and he won the award for best cornerback in college football, not Sauce Gardner.
What if your name was Sauce? What's his real name?
Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
So his middle name is Sauce.
No, that's a nickname. Ahmadabad, India.
I cannot type right now.
Ahmad Rashad Wedding.
Okay, you're right. Wow. Poor guy plays for the Jets. You imagine
the taxes he must be paying right now
to play on a shitty, just get your doors blown off every other week. It's brutal. Well, I watched The Dirt, and I'm not changing the subject here, but I did watch The Dirt and Nikki Sixx. This is like one of the first scenes. He just goes in and immediately legally changes his name. I was like, and it's like this big moment in the movie. I was like, well, that would be a pretty big moment. And a lot of like entertainers, celebrities, I feel like they work with like a PR team or a publicist or something where they're like, okay, your name is Dick Wiener. We just can't have that. So let's come up with something else.
I mean,
your name is now Matt Rife.
I remember one time in high school that it was right around the time that the Anthony Weiner stuff came out, but we were playing basketball against a
Tony Weiner.
That guy had a similar last name to Weiner, but wasn't Weiner, and we would chant Weiner.
Yeah.
And then
it's a no-brainer.
The teacher was like, you can't do that. And then like the next day came
like,
out. Next day he's like, yeah, so Anthony Weiner. And I was like, it's actually pronounced, and like said the other name. And no one thought it was funny besides me.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah. But that reminds me of this girl that went to the same school as us. This was before everything.
I have a feeling I know. Hold on.
And her name.
Hold on. Let me just type it in and see if this is. Is that who you're gonna...
Her name was not said this way, but it was spelt ISIS. There's no more. That's the least unfortunate name of all time. Most unfortunate name of all time. Unless you're part of that gang of people, then
that terrorist group.
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
Yeah, but I can't even imagine if like we had known that the
that was before the time.
Yeah, but if that would have existed, could you imagine a
Yeah,
worse.
you're gonna have to change that. You're gonna have that changed immediately.
Well, there was that murder scene in Minot that was like that big court case a couple months ago. And there was a guy who was one of the witnesses that they said they saw him running away at like 6 a.m. And it turns out it was just this guy jogging. And so he came in and it was...
Tase him. He just gets blasted.
And so he came in to like testify and they're like, what's your name? He's like, Randall Raper. And it's like, that is a very unfortunate last name for what we have going on right now.
Oh, that reminds me of a similar story. I may have told it before on the podcast, but hey, why not? Let's tell it again. We were at the lovely festival called We Fest, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Sex, drugs, country music. But instead of drugs, there's a lot of drinking. And drugs. But the cops were going around the campgrounds, and they were looking for someone for doing something. I can't quite remember. It wasn't great if the cops are looking for you.
At We Fest, because it's basically the purge.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of rules apply. But I was at a tailgate. I was mixing up a drink. Group of friends down the way. I can see them. So one of our friends, big fan of the show, he's talking to a lovely young lady. And the thing at We Fest is you give some beads and, they show you their breasts.
You saw her breasts?
And so they had come to a formal agreement, but he didn't have any on me. He's like, I'll be right back. So he starts running to his tent to get said beads. Well, the cops are coming. He happened to match the description of this person, and the cops see him. He starts running for beads, mind you. He was innocent. And this all happened right in front of me. Like in the movie 300, where he throws the spear and like it hits the rhino, it just comes sliding to his feet. That's kind of how I felt in this moment. He's a rather larger human being, and like it was just slow motion. I'm thinking of it. He's running. He has no idea that the cops are behind him, about to gang tackle him.
Did they slide up to you mixing a drink, or did you see it in the...
Well, they were like coming down the roadway because they were up a ways, and he was running towards me because I was at the campground and they were just a little bit up from the campground. And one of the cops, like, I want to say he kicks out one of his legs or just tries his best to get him down, and he goes tumbling, and the earth shook a little bit. And this all happens within like 10 feet of me, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Mixing up a drink and like...
I'm just like putting the drugs in my pocket. I'm like, whoa.
Can I mix you one up, officer?
Guys need one?
Need a little...
Do not check my identification. But yeah, boy, was he confused when they just cuffed him and were like, what the hell? Just interrogating him. Oh yeah, we had to vouch for him for a little bit. And then, yeah, they finally let him go. And then it was so bad that they had to have the discussion with him of like, okay, would you like to sue our police department for... doing what we did to you? Sorry, we thought you were that guy who did whatever, but
it'd be funny if they caught the actual guy and it just looked nothing like him. It was like
he's like a 5'2" black guy.
Yeah,
the guy that tackled was like 6'6" white guy.
I remember this one of our friends that he at the time we were up to no good, and we were up at, I think it might have been some lake cabin. I don't even know if I was there, to be honest, but the police we're doing stuff. And at the time he had torn his ACL. So he was on crutches and had a mohawk. And so the police were like, we're looking for a guy with a mohawk who's also on crutches. It's like, that's a pretty thin description where it's like, that's going to be the easiest guy to find.
Yeah. He stuck out like a sore thumb. Small town, North Dakota.
Yeah.
What can you do? Any more for unfortunate names?
No, it's just ISIS is the one that's really coming back to me right now.
Well, if you're going to procreate, just make sure you choose a decent name. Would you rather have some of these shitty names, or like the Braxton, the Oakleys, the whatever all the trendy goddamn names are these days?
Honestly,
what would you rather have?
I would rather have one of these shitty names.
Yeah. I'd rather be called Rod.
Yeah, Rod. Be like, there's the Rod, man.
Rod instead of Onyx.
Yeah. Or it's like, yeah, Brixton. It's like, what?
Yeah. If we have any listeners out there named Onyx, I'm not sorry.
Your either parents love drugs or love Pokemon, and I don't know which one's worse. It's Pokemon.
Or perhaps the hunting app.
Onyx. Yeah,
that's an option. All right, so last week we talked about, you said that the sandwich franchise Subway came out with nachos. Since our last recording, you texted me and invited me to lunch, which was very kind of you. Thank you for the invite. But you said, Subway nachos for lunch? And I was like, absolutely not. So you went, you tried them out. So my question to you is, what's worse, Subway nachos or Jared from Subway?
If you'd asked me this last week, I would have for sure said Jared.
Okay.
And I'm still going to say Jared, but it is remarkably closer than it was last week.
Yeah, why don't you walk us through kind of what happened with the Subway nachos?
So Subway nachos they take this trough and they take one little snack-sized bag of Doritos and they dump it in there. And then you get chicken or steak, like a tiny little thing of it. And then they put on...
I said this on the show. I was like, you don't get very much worth.
And then they put on shredded cheese and then like a cheese sauce. They throw it in the toaster oven. And then they add onions, jalapenos, tomatoes to it. But I just got jalapenos and then I added banana peppers. And the guy's like, don't tell my boss. We're not supposed to do substitutes on this. And I was like, I'm paying $7 for nachos right now.
Yeah. No, keep going.
Leave me alone. And then I'm not understating this. The Subway nachos are the worst thing that I've eaten in a long time.
I'm shocked.
I didn't think they were going to be good by any means. I didn't realize they were going to be this bad.
You know, when a sandwich franchise, who for a certain amount of time had a pedophile, right? That's what he was.
Yeah.
Okay, a pedophile, as their spokesperson, I don't even eat there anymore. I actually used to get it often because, my boss would buy it for me. It's like,
I was just about to say, like, guys, Subway's not that bad. Like, I like their sandwiches. Now, nope.
I feel like it all depends on which Subway, when do you get there? How cranky are the workers?
Well,
Are they coming down? Are they going up? Which one is it?
I went into the Subway that's kind of by my work, and I didn't realize that they redid the inside of it. It's super nice, but the outside still looks like a complete shithole.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're going for. They're like, we want it to be busy, but like not too busy.
Yeah, we don't want to
overwhelm our workers.
We don't want to overwhelm a bunch of ex-felons we hired from.
When these guys are coming off a hell of a crack bender, we do not want them to get slammed during rush hour.
I love the contrast you get of Subway workers in small towns because you have that like one dude who's like a surefire just got out of prison, and then you have like the one 14-year-old that it's their first job.
High school kid.
Yeah.
And raised right.
You have the guy slow throwing down meats and then slides it over the vegetables, and you have just this timid high school kid that's like shaking trying to get your jalapenos onto your sub.
Yeah. I can see it already.
Yeah, so if I was going to give, I think I gave it a score on the normal nacho scale. I think I gave it like a 0.4 or something, like under 1.
0.4 out of 10?
Yep. And then on the poor man's nacho scales, I think I gave it like a 3.1.
Still not great.
Horrible.
I mean, homemade poor man's nachos, which is really how it's supposed to be. That's the whole idea.
I'm saying like that if you just put Tostitos, I'm going to go Tostitos because they're the superior chip in my mind. Fresh Tostitos, not stale.
I'm following you so far.
And then some Colby Jack or Mexican shredded cheese.
Okay, still following you.
That's like a solid 6.5 if you have no other ingredients.
Now, with the poor man's, and I just want to be clear for our listeners. I don't want to confuse them, in case we haven't already done that. What beyond the chip and cheese, what are you allowed to add? Is the sour cream okay? Is the salsa okay? Is the hot sauce okay? What direction do we go from there?
I think if you add a meat into it, then you're flirting with
No, that's middle class nachos.
Yeah, and I will say there's some exceptions. Like if you have leftover chicken or taco meat, but it needs to be more than 1 day leftover.
I think it needs to be an obscure meat that you like, oh, I had a leftover pork chop.
Yeah,
so
I had some leftover.
Sliced it up.
Yeah, I had some leftover pepperonis from pizza.
Yeah. I think that's what you got to go with. Man, some poor man's nachos sound good.
I actually bought, before this, I was at the grocery store and I bought everything for poor man's and I straight up forgot chips.
So you didn't buy everything. How many? That's two of you. So you needed two things and you got one?
No, I have cheese here and I got sour cream and I got some salsa and I forgot chips.
Okay, so
I saw that they had brats on sale and I went blind.
yeah.
So I got 2 packs of brats if you want one of those.
Well, maybe we'll have to fire one up. So like you, I actually had a lunch from a hardware store.
Oh.
Hardware store lunch. I was working one day. I had a lot to do. I had places to be. The time wasn't in my favor. So while I was at the hardware store picking up some very expensive lumber, I was like, okay, well, I need to eat something here. So I got a Diet Mountain Dew. I got some
That's a good start.
King size, Reese's cups.
Yep.
Duh.
I went with peanut butter M&Ms.
And then I was like, I'm like, I need like protein. I need some sort of meat just to really satisfy me. So I usually don't buy this, but Jack Link's has a flavor. It's the Doritos sweet chili flavored Jack Link's jerky.
I tried this one chili and it set my mouth on fire and I had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
And it's not great.
Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Sweet chili Doritos, nacho cheese Doritos, Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh, wow. Well, I like to stick with the classics. So I think I'm going to bang the Cool Ranch. They seem like a fun time.
Cool Ranch.
I'm going to kill the sweet chili. They're okay, but... And then I'm going to marry nacho cheese. Loyal.
Yeah.
Always be there for you. Not a whole lot of disappointment. You know what you're going to get.
Honestly, I think Doritos could set the world on fire if they just made their Cool Ranch a seasoning.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they don't.
Like when
Haven't we figured that out yet?
When you get that Cool Ranch chip that is just dusted in seasoning, there's nothing better.
Yeah, no, that you're absolutely right with that.
But you're spot on with the. But how was your jerky?
It wasn't great. I wouldn't recommend it. There was no like actual flavor. It just kind of tasted like bland jerky. So there's my jerky review for episode 247. Moving on.
So the microwave has been a thing. I would argue that the microwave is a top 5 invention of all time. With what it's given us, because the offshoot of that is without the microwave, we don't have X-rays, because the guy was standing next. Wait, no, it's the other way around. Without X-rays, we don't have microwaves. Because the guy was standing next to someone.
Do not fact check us.
Yeah,
please.
The guy was standing next to an X-ray with a chocolate bar in his pocket, and it melted that and his wiener. But so after getting that lopped off and cleaning his pants from shit and chocolate, the microwave's awesome. But I don't know.
Oh my God!
How we haven't come to the fact of the reverse microwave.
How do you mean?
Cool something for me.
The refrigerator?
In fast order. We have the oven and we have the microwave. Microwave's like the fast. Like
there's got to be some sort of what do we call them? Chillers? Would they be a chiller?
There's nothing that's going to do it like, unless I don't know if you've ever done the old trick of shooting a fire extinguisher at beer to make it cold. There's one that you hook onto it and then it spins your beer and you do it for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and,
with like ice around it.
Yep, but you hook it onto like a drill and then it spins the beer.
And then so your beer's just all foamed up or what?
No, I think you do the John Dorian 3-tap method. It was on Shark Tank. But you can only do that with one beer at a time.
Yeah, there's beer chillers out there. This one is just a water bottle that keeps it cool.
Or I want to flash freeze something. You just throw it in there. It's like 5 minutes, frozen solid.
I think there is the technology. Just the average person probably just like can't afford it and probably would abuse it and hurt themselves. Probably dangerous.
Oh yeah, I mean we do that with microwaves too.
And ovens, yeah. You're all right. But those are probably a lot more prominent. Probably a lot more needed.
But I think we're like 40, 50 years away from like, yeah, there's the microwave in your house.
And then there's the chiller.
There's the chiller.
The chill zone.
Could you imagine just like, oh, I got a 30 rack of Busch Light, come home, it's warm, it was sitting in my car all day. I throw it in the chiller, minute and a half goes by, pull it out, it's a crisp 35 degrees.
Okay, so you're like ultra speed chiller because there are things called freezers.
Yeah, and well, there's
But then you forget about it.
Yeah,
and beer everywhere.
Yeah, it explodes and
yeah. Well, anybody out there who wants to invent some sort of high speed chiller, I think I got your first customer.
So
here.
when we moved into the house that my mom lives in right now, we moved this fridge downstairs, and I had put a pack of Diet 7-Up Cherry.
Oh wow,
It's a great pop.
talking to me dirty right now.
And I was like, oh, I'll make it cold faster. So I cranked the fridge all the way down. Forgot about it. And one of the cans blew up and blew the door of the fridge open. The best part about it is I'm like doing something in the sauna room, and the fridge is like right across, and I hear my dad go into the fridge room, and he's just like, what the fuck?
And you're just like, oh boy.
There was just red pop just blown everywhere. It's so funny.
Big old can of soda pop. You can't forget about
Who turned the fridge down to 9?
Well, we know what the next trend is in kitchen appliances, so Matt's got that going. I have fallen victim to diet trends and fads. I think somehow, like cookies on the internet or your algorithm, I don't know. I've seen a lot of them. I'm just getting inundated right now. But
Mine's the same way.
yeah, there's a lot of like quick fixes out there.
Get rid of your man boobs. It's like, how do you know I have man boobs?
But and that's what I was going to say. They always show a progress picture, and it's like the left picture, the before is just some guy with a cheeseburger locker. And then the middle picture is like, the guy with like kind of like a dad bod. And then the third picture, the guy is just shredded. I'm like, that is not how this works.
And it's never a normal progression. It'll be like, here's him at the beginning. Here's him after 1 month, and he'll be kind of like normal. And then
here's
it's like
him after 2 years.
It would be like 2 months, and he's just yoked after like a month.
Yeah, I don't know. I made the mistake of clicking on some sort of Instagram ad. I mainly just wanted to like see what these supplements are about, and just kind of see how big of a hoax it was. And now I'm just all these different companies are trying to like sell me different things. So I'll probably just do the honorable thing and buy some anabolic steroids from some sketchy guy, which begs the question, would you ever do steroids?
I think I accidentally did in college.
Okay.
So I had lost like 30 pounds of fat, and then I was like my freshman year of college, I just got freaking yoked.
And actually yoked, or just
like
were
I was
you lifting?
working out like every single day, and like
What happened?
I did it for like 3 months and ran out of this thing that the guy at GNC gave me, which is weird that I had to pay cash now, like that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was like 12 pills that I had to take morning, and then I had to do it at night.
Yeah. Well, which is another good point. Like, where would you go to find steroids? Is it you just go to GNC and kind of like pick his brain about like a few like whey protein options, and then like nobody's in the store. You're like, okay, kind of flash some dimes to him, and you're like, hey, where's the real stuff? And then he just opens a hidden door.
Just knocks something with his elbow, and just
the hidden door opens. Step right into my office.
got to go down into the dungeon.
Yeah, I actually watched the movie The Wrestler lately, and I love that scene where he's just in the locker room with the guy, and the guy's just walking him through like all of his different steroid options. But the thing is, and the funny thing is, I'm like, I wouldn't do steroids because of the negative health effects, but that hasn't stopped me before from like doing other things.
I would never do steroids. It would definitely hurt my body, and then it's like
I would never do steroids, and you get your tab at like 17 beers.
I spent $63 at the bar on a Sunday yesterday.
Whoops.
I did have food.
Oh, okay.
But
That's still pretty impressive. So, good for you. Gosh, what else was I gonna ask? Oh yeah. Then you see like Ozempic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but with like Ozempic and things similar to that, don't you have to inject that into your ass cheek.
Yeah, or like just grab the fat. And
Yeah, you bring needles into play, and that
wouldn't be
lost.
that wouldn't be that bad to do it like that. But like Ozempic's weird because it doesn't really do anything other than chemically tell your mind that you're full.
Or you could just do that with a bunch of, black coffee, nicotine.
It's pretty much like
soda.
having an Adderall prescription minus the energy you get.
I don't know. What I've learned in my health journey, it's just like, do what you got to do to get it done. Not in an unhealthy way, but it's like, oh, I am hungry. I know I shouldn't eat these chocolate bars. Okay, then don't. Just don't do it. Like, do something else. I don't go for a walk. Take your mind off of it. See the H, And I'm not going to say it, but those who have listened know what I'm talking about. Get your mind off it. Do something else. I don't know. You just got to do what you got to do. But that's all I really have for today, Matt. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, that was a solid episode.
All right. What can our listeners do to get more involved in the No Brains, No Headache universe?
Subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can follow us on all social media platforms. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And if you want to leave us a review, you can go on Apple Podcasts and do it, or just leave us a 5-star on Spotify.
There you go. Upcoming shows, events, things we have going on. Wednesday, May 14th, starting at 8:30 a.m., a little bit earlier of a thing. Matt and I will be presenting at 1 Million Cups, talking about the progress of No Brains, No Headache, where we're at now, what we have coming up in the future. Free coffee. I'll probably go get some donuts. We're going to have a good time, give a good presentation, so we're really looking forward to that. That's at Dakota Stage Theater on Wednesday, May 14th, if you'd like to come support us. Also, Saturday, May 17th at 4 p.m. at Stadium Sports Bar, our favorite watering hole. Matt and I will be celebrating 5 years of No Brains, No Headache. Quite the accomplishment. We're proud of it. We want to give back to all of our supporters and listeners. So join us at Stadium Sports Bar Saturday, May 17th, starting about 4 p.m. Come on by. We're going to buy you one free drink, and then there'll also be opportunities to get T-shirts, stickers, another free drink, life advice from Matt. We're going to be giving it all away. Probably have some treats there as well. So if you enjoy what we do, enjoy the show, enjoy our comedy shows, have you ever been there before? We want to give back to you, say thank you for supporting us for 5 years. Pretty uncommon, I feel, for podcasts and just kind of businesses, ventures in general to last that long. So Matt and I haven't killed each other yet, so we want to celebrate that with you. And then Saturday, September 13th, a ways out, we will be doing a stand-up comedy show at the Bell Mayhews Auditorium. We're currently working on booking the talent for that one. So once we know more, you will know more, but those are our dates. Wednesday, May 14th, Saturday, May 17th, Saturday, September 13th, July 11th, I'll be in Minot at the Drop Zone if anybody wants to come check out that show. And as we book more events, we will let you know. But thank you guys so much for listening. This was episode 247, and up next we have episode 248. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
You're watching Channel 4 News with 5-time Emmy Award-winning anchor Ron Burgundy and Tits McGee.
Good evening, San Diego. I'm Veronica Corningstone. Tits McGee is on vacation.
And I'm Ron